I'd like to begin by thanking everyone for being here today. I appreciate the enthusiasm of U.S. Attorney Mike Donovan, Special Agent Gavin that have brought to this initiative, because they know how contraband not only affects the safety and the security of our prisons, but also reaches back and impacts the communities that we all serve. Everyone in this room is aware that the introduction of contraband is a serious threat to the safety and the security of the prisons across this nation. This problem is not exclusive to Tennessee, but again, it's a national problem. So much so that we have joined with other correctional agencies to appeal to Congress, the Department of Justice, the FCC, and others to work together on a permanent, affordable solution to make contraband cell phones inoperable in our prisons. And we've seen some traction on this front. Just last month, I, along with other corrections commissioners, met in Washington, D.C. with the FCC and the cell phone carriers in an effort to begin the process of finding a permanent, affordable solution to contraband cell phones in our prisons. Because we all know that contraband cell phones and drugs go hand in hand. But while we are addressing this contraband at the national level, we also have to look and see how we can better address this issue in our state. Last July, we had a press conference similar to this one, announcing our plans to ramp up contraband interdiction efforts within the department. Many of the people you see here today were also in attendance then. On that day, we promised that TDOC would join together with other law enforcement agencies and vigorously prosecute anyone that threatens the safety of our institutions and our community. Today is the day where again and together we announce some of the fruits of this initiative. Federal prosecution for individuals who traffic drugs into our prisons. U.S. Attorney Mike Donovan will elaborate on these prosecutions. Mike?
Well, thank you, Commissioner. It's certainly my honor to be here, back in Lauderdale County, my original home county. And it's good to be here with all of these correctional professionals and our law enforcement colleagues. I'm here today to announce to you as we roll out the Honor the Oath initiative, our partnership at the U.S. Attorney's Office with the Tennessee Department of Correction and the FBI to make sure that we are doing everything that we can from a prosecutorial standpoint on the federal level to protect the security and the integrity of correctional facilities across West Tennessee. We know that here at West Tennessee State Penitentiary, this is just one of several facilities, jails and penitentiaries, that we want to make sure are being protected from the inmates to the correctional staff to the visitors to the public. So I'm here today to announce the fruits of our first labors under this new partnership and initiative. Last month on February 20th, a federal grand jury returned 4 indictments against 4 employees of the Department of Correction who worked at the Northwest Correctional Center up in Lake County, Tennessee. We are announcing the unsealing of those indictments today against Kiara Bogan, who was indicted for distribution of marijuana into a correctional facility. Michael Holland, indicted for 2 counts of possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute in a correctional facility. Daria Johnson, indicted for possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute within the Northwest Correctional Center. And finally, Robert Sanders, indicted for possession of cocaine with intent to deliver and distribute into a correctional facility. During this investigation, agents with the FBI and the Department of Corrections seized 13 ounces of marijuana and 51 grams of cocaine that were destined to come into that correctional facility here in West Tennessee. We have indicted those on the federal level, and those defendants will be prosecuted in federal court and will face significant punishment under the guideline sentencing under federal law. This demonstrates our commitment to this partnership in working with our state and local and federal law enforcement components to make sure, again, that we are enforcing the rule of law in all areas, whether it is drug distribution or public corruption, because ultimately these are people who did not honor their oath. These are public officials in Tennessee who dishonor their oath by bringing drugs into the penitentiary for personal gain. We know that that threatens the security and safety of everyone associated with the Department of Correction, and also can have a direct negative impact on public safety to the community at large. So it's our pleasure to work with the FBI and their Tarnished Badge Task Force. You may hear a little bit more about that as well. And Commissioner Parker and his initiatives to make sure that we are interdicting, investigating, and prosecuting vigorously all attempts to introduce any type of contraband into a penal institution here in West Tennessee. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Special Agent in charge of the FBI, Michael Gavin, who's going to deliver some remarks.
Good afternoon. It's great to be here with you today. The impact of contraband smuggling extends well beyond the institutions where the criminals are housed. We all know this. Contraband smuggling supports criminal syndicates, gangs, extremists, and terrorists, inflicting harm on our communities. The FBI's Prison Corruption Initiative and the FBI Memphis's Tarnished Badge Task Force address contraband smuggling by local, state, and federal prison authorities and officials. Through this nationwide effort and our effort locally, the FBI develops and strengthens our relationships with prosecutors and departments of correction. Together, we identify prison facilities that are afflicted with corruption, and we hold accountable those who do not keep the oath they are sworn to uphold. Prison officials who are co-opted betray the public trust, threaten the integrity of our criminal justice system, and also, importantly, they undermine our country's national security. I'm proud to stand before you today with these friends and be part of this team to direct the resources of the FBI and our Tarnished Badge Task Force to fight this fight and protect Tennessee and the American people. Thank you. Lee?
Good afternoon. Collaborative efforts are often the cornerstone of any successful law enforcement operation and subsequent prosecution. Agencies that work together toward a common goal can benefit from institutional knowledge, intelligence sharing, specific jurisdictional expertise, force multiplication, and venue. Agents from the Department's Office of Investigations and Compliance, our other correctional law enforcement officers, each have access to considerable knowledge concerning the workings of our institutions. These same agents and officers, as well as our other law enforcement personnel, have access to intelligence that may be unique to their jurisdictions. The sharing of resources to include personnel often increases that which is brought to bear to any investigation. The decision of venue has the potential to identify the most specific and relevant charges that are available. These collaborative efforts often eliminate waste and the potential for threats to safety that could arise in duplicitous investigations. No agency wants to unknowingly participate in an investigation that could either damage another agency's investigation or place the public, officers, and assets in harm's way. Finally, the pinnacle of our collaborative efforts involves everyone, law enforcement and the public alike. All of our efforts are geared toward ensuring public safety, always. Just as the police officer, deputy sheriff, and state trooper on our streets and our neighborhoods, on our highways, can't be everywhere all the time, the same is true for our agents from the Office of Investigations and Compliance, our other correctional law enforcement officers, and our federal and state and local partners that we work with on a daily basis. We often rely on the willingness of our partners in the public to provide information concerning criminal activities. So with that being said, we would encourage anyone that would have information concerning a specific criminal activity or any threat to the safety and security of any of our institutions to contact us at 844-TDC-FIND. Again, that number is 844-TDC-FIND. Commissioner.
Thank you, Lee. The Department of Corrections is not stopping here, and we've already announced. Today, we're announcing the Honor of the Oath campaign. I want to be clear, very clear. Day in and day out, the overwhelming majority of the correctional professionals perform their duties with professionalism in an environment that few can tread. However, on occasion, many make a very serious mistake and disregard the trust that has been placed in them. TDOC's Honor the Oath is a program that focuses on the integrity that all correctional staff must value and hold true. When an employee compromises their integrity, they not only subject themselves to potential legal action, they place coworkers, families, the public, offenders, and the security of the institution in jeopardy. A violation of one's oath will not be tolerated, and I want everyone who would so recklessly disregard their duty to hear me clearly. As you have seen here today, we will prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. Posters like these will be placed at every checkpoint to remind employees of their oath. Let me be clear, the men and women of TDOC who for years have held their integrity to the highest level and helped this department succeed and be the department that we are today, I thank you for your hard work and your daily dedication. But for those that plan to violate the oath and the tenets of this department, again, hear me clearly. We will find you, we will root you out, and with the help of law enforcement partners, here today, we will prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. That concludes this press conference. Thank you for being here. Thank you guys for being here.